So this is the Arena versus Moto draft, and I wanted to talk about this specifically in the context of why I believe Arena's limited environment is predatory. So this is some quick and dirty math, but I'll explain what all of this means. But essentially, the main takeaway is that if you're looking to play limited on a digital platform, Moto is by far better than Arena. So let's go through this. So this is Moto drafts. Obviously, you have other options like single elimination and whatnot, but for the most part, most people are probably going to play the regular mirrors paper draft environment, which is you're playing 3 matches that are best of 3, and you have an entry that is either 12 event ticks, which translates to, like, I think basically $1 per tick, or you have to have 3 packs from the set plus 2 event ticks. So you're going to play 3 matches, which means you're going to play between 6 and 9 games, depending on whether you go 2-1, 1-2, 0-2, 2-0. Then if you have a score of no wins or only 1 win at the end, you get nothing. But if you have 2 wins at the end, you get 3 Edge of Eternity's play boosters. So that almost refunds you because you're getting the packs that you need to enter the next event, but you're not getting the ticks. And if you get 3-0, the top score possible, you have what is essentially a double refund, because aside from these, which, okay, let's just say we're putting these aside and you only care about limited, you're getting 7 boosters, which means you have enough boosters to play 2 additional drafts at this entry fee, again, minus the event ticks. Now, how do you get the event ticks? So, like, don't I still have to spend money? Not necessarily, because you can sell the cards that you get to bots in order to get ticks. Now, this is usually not a good proposition. So this is GOAT bots. They are a specific group of bots that are on Moto, but this should generally apply to all the bots. They have certain buy prices that they will buy cards that you sell to them at. So as you can see, this is Edge of Eternities, and you can see here are the various cards. Here's the, buy and sell data. So this is how much they sell them for. And this is how much here on the left, this is how much they will buy them from you for. So if you look at just the cards that they will buy from you at like a reasonable amount of money, let's say at least 1 tick, you can see the list isn't very long. It's basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And if you didn't get one of those 7 rares or mythics in your draft, you could potentially have like multiple rares that might add up to a tick. But for the most part, these are going to be the only ones. And you'll see most of these are the mythics. You've got 4 mythics here and only 3 rares. And then there's a steep drop off. And I would say that this is pretty true of most sets. There's usually only a handful or like 2 handfuls of rares that are actually worth anything. And as you can see here, so the number of unique rares in Edge of Eternities is 60 and the number of unique mythics is 25. So the odds that you get any one of these specific cards is incredibly low. This is not counting the Stellar Insight bonus sheet, but I don't think that really changes much. So most of the time you will not open any rares that are worth any amount of ticks. So you will have to spend the ticks, but occasionally you will open a rare or mythic that is worth some ticks. You can then parlay that into multiple other drafts. So let's say you do some drafts and you go like 2-1 or 3-0 in some of those drafts, but then you happen to open a Consult the Star Charts or a Cosmo Grand Zenith or something. You can then sell those to the bots and get some ticks. And so you're essentially free drafting. Remember, the point of this is I want to play limited. I want to play draft on a digital platform, and I just want to keep drafting without spending more money. So this is how you can do it in Moto. You got to go 2-1 or 3-0 in your drafts, which is not unreasonable, and happen to open one of these rares at some point so you can sell them to a bot to get the ticks back so you can keep re-entering. Remember, you can enter if you have 3 packs and 2 ticks, and you get 3 or 7 packs for winning 2-1 or 3-0. So I have never spent any money to draft on Moto. I always just keep recycling packs and ticks into more drafts. Now, maybe at some point I will go on a losing streak and will not have enough ticks to keep re-entering over and over, but at least for, the last any number of months or years that I've been playing Moto drafts, this has never been a problem. Now let's compare that to Arena draft. So first of all, we have to understand that there's 2 different kinds of drafts on Arena. There are Premier Draft and Traditional Draft. Now there's a handful of differences between them, but the big difference is that the traditional drafts are essentially the mirror of paper or those Moto drafts. They are 3 matches best of 3, and Premier Drafts are 7 matches best of 1, and you can only lose twice. These also are ranked, but whatever, who cares about that? So let's go through these individually. So this is the traditional draft. Again, this is the one that's going to mirror Moto the most. And as you can see here, there's 0, 1, 2, and 3 wins. You play 3 matches regardless of record, and however many wins you get, this is the amount that you get at the end. The entry fee is 1,500 gems or 10,000 gold. So your winnings are always in gems. So gold only counts for the gold that you're generating off of playing Arena daily. So just to briefly cover that. So here is the, Arena home screen. And as you can see, there's like some dailies that you get. If you do this thing, you get some amount of gold, right? So cast 20 white or blue spells kills, you get 500 gold. Not that much, especially when it takes an entire day, as you can see here, to refresh one of these dailies. Or, you know, this is 250 gold here. So overall, you're not getting that much gold just playing your normal dailies. Like if you're just jumping on the arena ladder and playing some matches until you eventually get this, you're not assembling that much gold. And especially when it takes, you know, it could take like 2 hours in order to grind all the dailies until you finish them. And then it takes multiple days to reset the dailies. I think it takes around 3 days for all of your dailies to reset. So if you just come back here and you look at the entry fee, 10,000 gold, if you're only making like 1,000 or 1,500 gold a day, you have to play for an entire week in order to just get the entry fee in order to draft again. So that is not a reasonable way to keep drafting without spending more money. You have to be getting enough gems that you can keep redrafting. I think I did the math on it once, and the math on doing these dailies was I would have to spend 6 hours a week for 3 months in order to draft 3 times. Just not reasonable, especially if you don't care about constructed, you're only here for limited, and so you don't want to grind dailies. So moving on, as we can see, we've got, so 0 wins is 100 gems plus 1 pack. Now the pack is irrelevant because unlike Moto, we cannot use these packs to re-enter. We cannot sell these packs to bots. The only currency that we're actually getting in order to draft again is the gems. So 1/15 of your entry fee back. Then at 1 win, you get 250 gems. Then at 3 wins, you get 1,000 gems. So you're still not getting your entry fee back even at 2 and 1. You have to go 3-0 in order to get it back. So here you get 2,500 gems, and then the rest are irrelevant because you're not using those to redraft again. So if you think back to Moto, again, you only have to go 2-1 basically in order to get your entry fee back in order to draft again. On Arena, you have to go 3-0. And as you can see here, these are all of the various winnings, like how many gems you get per win, and you can compare that to the entry. So obviously this is a terrible way to draft if you're just looking to draft. If you're just looking to, I just want to draft and I want to use the winnings that I get from drafting to draft again. So okay, let's compare that to Premier Draft. So this is Premier Draft. As you can see, you have between 0 and 7 wins, and you're allowed to get 2 losses. If you get your 3rd loss, you lose. Entry fees are the same, 1,500 gems, 10k gold. So at no wins, so you lost 3 games in a row. And remember, this is best of 1, 50 gems. At 1 win, it's 100. At 2 wins, it's 250. At 3 wins, it's 1,000. At 4 wins, it's 1,400. So again, all the way up to 4 and 3, which, so this is like dead center right here, right? So these right here, if you're an average player with an average skill level and you're winning like 50% of your matches and losing 50% of them, these two are going to be the ones that you wind up with most of the time, which means you're either only 2/3 recouped or almost recouped, but not quite, which means you're always draining gems unless you're good enough that you can consistently hit 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so at 5 and 2, or 5 and 1, or 5 and 0, 1,600 gems, you're just barely making your entry back, and plus 100, which almost means nothing because it's 1/15 of another entry. Then at 6 wins, it's 1,800, and then at 7 wins, it's 2,200. Even at going X and O or X and 2, you're still not even getting a double re-entry back, right? You're getting 1.5 times your entry. And so here you can see, here's all the comparisons. So there's basically 8 possible positions you can be left in depending on how much you lost and won. And if you just look at dead center average, you're always losing gems, which means in general, your trend is that you're going to lose gems. You're going to siphon gems out of your currency as you play these drafts over and over. Now, this is particularly a problem because even if you don't care about drafting, drafting is the best way to acquire cards from the new set because you can grab rares in the draft in order to increase your collection as opposed to having to buy and win packs. You also do win packs from these events, so if you're just looking to build a constructed collection, this is another reason why drafting is the best option in order to build that. So what does all of this mean in the end? It means that if you look at the breakdown, so you've got your Arena Premier drafts, your Arena Traditional drafts, and your Moto draft. So you have your entries, how much does it cost to enter, how many games total are there possible, and how many matches are there possible in total. And if you have an average win rate of 50%, how likely are you to win? So here's all of the breakdown. So here's your score, here's how much winnings you get out of it. Is this a refund? So at 4 and 3 on Premier Draft, it's almost a refund, and then it's only a refund at 5-3 or better. For Traditional Draft, it's only a refund at 3 and 0. And for Moto, it's a refund at 2 and 1 and a double refund at 3 and 0. Again, minus the ticks, but you can generally recoup those. And so if you average all of these out, this is the average number of gems you're winning or packs you're winning. However, this isn't strictly accurate because this implies that the likelihood of going 7x is the same likelihood as going 0-3, which I don't think is the case. I think this is heavily weighted towards the likelihood that you're going to probably, not be that great and you're going to lose is much higher than that you're going to like go undefeated. In which case, this is even worse. worse. So in any case, it is basically always better to play Moto as a way of drafting.